Tractate Bava Batra, page 111. Thank you all for coming on this important holy day of Lag BaOmer, 33rd day of counting the Omer, the big celebration, bonfire, shaving, feeling good, all the connection from people who are here and those who watch us around the world. Thank you. We continue today the law of inheritance, the idea that in Jewish law it's not always reconciled with the secular law, meaning when it comes to law of inheritance, the law of Yerushot, we see differences between daughter, son. We're going to biblical law. Obviously in the Bible, as we explained yesterday and day before yesterday, they divide the land by lottery, and then it was by tribe, and the first stage was a time that did not want to transfer an estate from one tribe to another. So obviously it was different rules between the daughters and sons. With that derivative, we're going to discuss the law of a firstborn son, and it's the differences between the firstborns and others when it's come to inheriting an estate, the difference between husband, wife when it's come to inheritance, and more. So we start with the very bottom of 110b. The Mishnah tells us that a man, with regard to his mother, inherits from her relatives but not bequeathed to her. So it means that the whole derivative of the precedence, the priority of son over daughter. How do you know that the son take precedence when it's come to Yerusha, to inheritance, more than the daughter? The Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis, the sages taught. And here we are, page 111, at the top of the page. The Torah said in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 36, verse 8. The text said as follows: V'chol bat yoreshet nachala, and every daughter who possesses an inheritance, mimatot bnei Israel, from the tribes of the children of Israel, le'echad mimishpachat mate aviha tiyeh isha, she will marry obviously to one family from the tribe of her parental tribunal, leman yirshu bnei Israel ish nachalat avotav, that they have the structure of inheritance that each and every person go by the inheritance of his parental, of his family. So the derivative is that a wife, meaning a woman that entitled to inherited her father, meaning when in a situation that she have no brothers, she basically prohibited to marry someone from a different tribe at that time in order to avoid transferring the estate at the first stage between one tribe to another. Later we're going to study, the Rashbam said on page 120, that applied just for that generation. Again, for those who are not familiar, right after the leadership of Moses, Joshua took over. So it was a lottery, and they divided the land by the tribe, the land of Israel. So each tribe gets their own tribunal part of the land, and each mishpacha, each family gets their own part. So the rules at the first stage, in order to avoid transferring the inheritance, because obviously the moment the woman married to someone, she's going to a new family, to a new estate. So the structure at the first generation, that it has to stay within the tribe. Give me a scenario. Is that possible for a daughter to inherit two different estates? אלא זו שאביה משבט אחד ואימה משבט אחר ומתו וירשתן. Here we have a rare scenario, but the scenario the Rashbam explains as follows. You have a woman that in a way she's a daughter, and for one tribe, the father passed away, she have brothers who also passed away, and she marries someone from a different tribe, and the husband passed away. So now she have a inheritance from the husband who's in a different tribe, and her father because originally when she got married she had the brothers. Unfortunately now, so since she have the brothers, there's no problem for her to marry someone from a different tribe. Now unfortunately the brothers passed without children and the father passed, so therefore she entitled for two different estates from two different tribes. That's the way the Rashbam explained. Obviously there is more to discuss, we just go by the very basic of Rashbam. Ve'en li ela bat ben minayin, so all of that you understand in the rules when it's come to the daughter, but how do you know that the son inherits from his mother as well? Amart kal v'chomer, you learn in a manner of kal v'chomer inference, which is Uma bat shura kocha b'nichsei yupa kocha b'nichsei ha'em. Daughter, in a sense, is inferior. Why? Because when it's come to son, he is the one that Rashbam explained take precedence before the daughter. She got married, she moved out of the family, he is still part of the lineage. He is the one who inherited. Versus when it's come to a mother, she inherited. Ben shiupa kocho b'nichsei ha'av, enodin shiupa kocho b'nichsei ha'em. So obviously he is more than the daughter. Umimakom shebat, uma la'alan ben kodem lebat, afkan bat ben kodem lebat. So that's a notion that obviously there are a few explanations, but the Avias re-explain the general idea is the story of Sdei Achuzah. We learn in Torat Kohanim in Bechukotai, the weekly Torah portion. We're going to read this Shabbat, that a person inherited from his mother a ancestor estate is called Sdei Achuzah. So therefore he inherited here, but not everyone hold that. Soon you see another view that goes the other way around, and this view is going to be refuted, but it's important to know it. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosef amru mishum Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav v'echad ben v'echad man shavin l'chseahem. Here is view that he hold that when it's come to a daughter and son, they are both equal with regard to the mother's property. Now, obviously, not everyone goes. The Shita Mikubetzet bring Tosfot Rosh that said that only if there is no daughter, then he inherited. But anyway, my ta'ama de'ola b'adam binadin liot kenidon. So it's a principle that said it is sufficient for the conclusion that emerges from and a kal v'chomer inference to be like the source. So according to this principle, halakha, they're even by means of a kal v'chomer inference cannot go beyond the halachot of the source from which it was derived. So anyway, so they said v'tana kama lo darish dayo. So the first Tana not derived, they interpreted the verses employing the principle of it is sufficient for the conclusion that emerged from a kal v'chomer inference to be like the source. So they said v'ad hayo d'oraitau. The Tanya, Midin Kal V'chomer Ketzad, they said it about Miriam, as we know that Miriam talked Lashon Hara against her brothers Moshe Rabbeinu, so they put her in a special secluded place for 7 days. So the Torah said in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 12, verse 14, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe v'avia yarok yirak b'fanei lo tikalem shivat yamim. So he said that the father had but spit in her face, she should be hide for 7 days. So it means, is obviously is using a euphemism, is an expression that in a way, as the Mefarshim said, it should be 14. Kal v'chomer l'shchina 14. Ela lava min hadin liot kenidon. So the same way, so the Gemara said, Bish lama be'alma darish dayo. ושענה אחד אמר קרא ממטות, מקיש מטה האב למטה האם למטה האב, מה מטה האב בן קודם לבת, אף, when it's come to law of inheritance, מטה האם בן קודם לבת. So in short, what you see here, the way that the Mefarshim explain, Tosfot and others, the whole notion is by the verbal juxtaposition, you derive that inheritance from one's mother, a son take precedence before a daughter. So now, here's several stories in regards to Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav. Rabbi Nitai savar lemebad uvda כרבי זכריה בן הקצב, he basically tried to rule that there is equality between son and daughter, as Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav ruled. Amar lei Shmuel was the luminary rabbi, and he said, Keman, ki Zechariah afes Zechariah. So it basically wants to express it in the word that his statement was not accepted as halacha, the Rashbam said. Rabbi Tavla avad uvda, ki Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav, Amar le Rav Nachman, my high. Why you rule like him, that there is equality between the son and daughter? Amar le Amar Rabbi Chinana bar Shlemya mishmei derab, halacha ki Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav, Amar le Zila adarbach. Change, otherwise I'm going to put you under excommunication. He says, Ve'hi lo mapikna lach Rav Chinana bar Shlama me'unaich, which means I put you under excommunication and I'll punish you severely for ruling against the accepted halacha. Third story, Rabbi Huna bar Chia savar lemei bad uvda, Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav Amar le Rav Nachman, my high Amar le, Damar Ravuna Amar Rav halacha Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav Amar le eshlach lecha, which means that I'll report you. So Kasif, he was very embarrassed by that. He wasn't sure the Ritva said, but anyway, Amar le hashta kinach nafshe de Ravuna itris lekivlei. So if Ravuna were to have died, you will have been brazen enough to say before me that this is what he said, but since he's still alive, you cannot be so brazen. So the Gemara said, "Ve'iu keman savra," to whom Rav Nachman holds. So they said, "Ki ad Rav Shmuel d'amrit Rabbayu ein halacha ki Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav," and that's the crucial point. We do not go by Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatsav. Mistamich ve'azil Rabbi Yanai lakalfa de Rabbi Shimlai Shamei. So he was old Rabbi Yanai, and he basically was leaning toward his assistant Rabbi Simlai. Vat Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah Apayu is approached them. Rabbi Yehuda, the president of the generation, the main writer of or putting together the editor of the Mishnah. Amar le barinash da'ata lekavina hu ya'i vegulti ya'i. So he said is handsome and his clock is handsome. So obviously they're using a euphemism. The idea is he wants to show that he's important, his talit Talmidei Chachamim, it's important. That's the way the Rashbam and Rabbeinu Gershom explain. Obviously there is more to that. You have the Ben Yoyada, my brother-in-law, in his book Daf al Daf, Rabbi Mandelbaum, he brought the Ben Yoyada and he elaborates a lot, and here the Ben Yoyada, the whole idea, how come he's not recognize him, what the meaning of the talit, what's the back and forth between them. In other words, it's almost like dealing with Kabbala, understanding the text, that it's obviously not the literal understanding. That's the Ben Yoyada. If you wish, you can read my brother-in-law book, Daf al Daf. But anyway, Ki mata legabei gashesha. So he touched him. Amar le den shiuei kesak. This is a derivative from the law of Tumah and Tahara. That's a Mishnah in Kelim, chapter 27, the second Mishnah, speaking about a recipient of ritual impurity when it's come to the beged. So it's dependent upon if it's made of wool or linen, and how far. They said at 3 hand finger by 3 hand finger. Anyway, so that's the halacha. The Rashbam said the derivative. Be'amine minayin leben shehu kodem lebat benichsei ha'em. How do you know that the son take precedent before the daughter when it's come to a state of the mother? Amar le dichtiv matot, and here is important. You have the derivative because they use the term tribe. So meaning when you use the matot in a plural, you meant to say that both the father and the mother in one words. Makish, you basically compare or juxtapose Mateaim le Mateaev Av, Ma Mateav ben Kodem levad, the same way as the parental tribe, the son take precedent before the daughter. Af Mate Haem ben Kodem lebat. Amar le. So Rabbi Nesiah responded to Rabbi Yanai and he said, I Ma Mateav b'chor notel pi shnayim. When you talk about the firstborn, the portion, he takes double portion when it's come to inheritance from the mother's tribe. So when he inherits from his mother, the firstborn takes double portion. page 111b. So obviously the Rashbam and other Mefarshim said that he knows very well, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi knows, he tried to prove that the hekesh, the verbal analogy that he used in the word matot, it's not applicable here. Anyway, Amar le Sham'ei, he said to his assistant, the attendant, God, let din tzvi lemeilaf, take me away from here, for this man, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, does not desire to learn, but instead raising difficulties that are already resolved. So anyway, why he didn't want to respond, the Gemara tried to elaborate on that and said, V'tama mai, Amar Rabbi Amar Krab, b'chol asher matzeh lo. When it's come to the firstborn, he said that he get a double portion for whatever he has. So it means that he received double portion in all that he has, but not all that she has, because they use the word lo, meaning the father, velo la. They didn't use the word la, which is the female, which is the mother. That's applied to a person that marry a widow, which means the son is not a firstborn only for the parental, only the father, but not the mother. So therefore he doesn't take a double portion when it's come to a state of his mother. Aval bachush natav to life, a person marry a regular typical case of a virgin, which means the son is a firstborn for both mother and father. He takes double portion also from the estate of the mother, Rashbam said. Amar Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak amar kra reshit ono, ono velo ona, because the Torah said in Deuteronomy 21, for he is the first fruit of his strength, that it means a double portion stands for his strength, but not her. So it means excluding a son who is the firstborn of his mother alone. So the Gemara said that this applies to one that come after, unfortunately, the non-viable newborns, which means that unfortunately it happens that the 8 months is the time that, especially in those days, that they couldn't make it. If it's 7 nowadays, you can put it in an incubator. 9 months, it's deliver a healthy child, but 8 months is a chance that he die during the delivery. So it's a basically non-viable newborn who died, who did not reach the full term of 9 months. It's called nefel. Deleheve b'chol nachala mi shelibo daveh alav, which means that the one who has his heart, that his heart is pained about him when he died, which means a son who lives beyond birth, excluding this non-viable newborn whose father's heart is not pain about him when he dies. So since you use this term reshit ono, so how you derive ono velo ona? So im ken lemakra ki hu reshit on, my ono shma mina tartei. You learn two, which means both, with regard to mourning, with regard to the status of the firstborn, as the father hears specifically. V'akati emahanemilei almon shenasa betula, which means one that have sons from the previous marriage that marry a virgin. So since the son is only firstborn for the mother and not for the father, so he doesn't take a double portion for the estate of the mother. That if the son, the firstborn, for both mother and father in married virgin, that he should take a double portion from the estate of his mother. When it's come to the rule of the firstborn, that applies specifically to a man. So where the woman is not inheriting or is the ligator. So now it's important to know, before we continue the halacha, which is the Rambam Hilchot Nachalot chapter 1, you see it also in Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat 276. If a mother dies, her son or his offspring inherit her property. If she had no sons or offspring of sons, her daughter or her daughter's offspring inherit the property, because it's because as Rav and Shmuel rule later, the halacha is not according to the opinion of Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav, as we said earlier. Also the halacha of Nephalim. They said a son born after non-viable newborn is considered a firstborn with regard to inheritance. This applies even if the head of the non-viable newborn or even his entire body emerged when he was still alive. The Sma notes that the viable son is not considered a firstborn with regard to redemption. Again, that's the Choshen Mishpat 277. In Choshen Mishpat 278, they speak about the firstborn, and they say the firstborn receives a double portion of his father's property, but not of his mother, even if he is the firstborn of both his parents. He and his brothers share the mother's property equally. So the Mishnah said, "Va'ish et ishto." Menan emil tanu Rabbanan. They said in Parasha of Nachalot, Bamidbar 27, she'ero zo ishto, melamed she'abal yoresh et ishto, that the husband inherited his wife. Yachol af hi tirashenu Talmud lomar v'yarash ota. Hu yoresh ota ve'en hi yoresht oto. So the Gemara said, "Va'akra elav ha'chektive." אמר רבי תריץ אחר, ונתתם את נחלתו לקרוב אליו, שאירו וירש אותם. הרב, הסכין החריף מפסקה קראי, it like literally meaning you have a sharp knife, stop the sentences, which means how come you changed the order of the words, and you said the word she'ero, the closing kin, the one is later to one, the one is earlier to one is later. הקרוב אליו, it's like you're changing מאוחר למוקדם, the one is later to one is first. למה רבא, אחר כמה, ונתתם את נחלת שאירו לו, כסבר גורעים ומוסיפים ודורשים. So basically the homiletically he says that hold that the sages subtract and add and interpret it homiletically, meaning that the letters can be removed from the words and a appendage to each other. And halacha can be derived from the new word formed by the combination of letters. So now another source for the inheritance of the husband, והייתנה מייתלה מהכה. דתניא וירש אותם למד שהבעל יורש את אשתו דברי רבי עקיבא. רבי ישמעאל אומר אינו צריך. הרי אומר וכל בת יורשת נחלה מבתות בני ישראל לאחד ממשפחת. הסבת הבעל הכתוב מדבר. ואומר ולא תסוב נחלה לבני ישראל מטה למטה. As we explain, that's the time of Joshua, that one should not transfer the estate from one tribe to another tribe. So here you have another source that the husband inherited his wife, and then later the Gemara explained why Rabbi Yishmael needs more sources. ואומר ולא תסוב נחלה מטה למטה אחר, ואומר ולעזר בן אהרון מת ויקברו אותו בגבעת פינחס בנו, which means that here was not Elazar's estate, וכי מנין לפנחס, how the Pinchas have an estate שלא היה לו לאלעזר, that Elazar his father doesn't have, אלא מלמד שנשא פנחס אישה ומתה וירשה. So they said, later the Gemara explained, Rashbam said how they get to that point. ואומר, they said in book of Chronicles, chapter 2, הושגו ולידת יאיר, ויהי לו 23 ערים בארץ הגלגד. So Seguv begat Yahir were 23 cities in the land of Gilad. Page 112, וכי מניין ליאיר שלא היה לסגוב. So from where did Yair have land that his father Seguv did not have? So they said, אלא מלמד שנשא יאיר אישה ומתה וירשה. That woman had 23 cities and he inherited her. So it means the husband inherited his wife. I would like to share with you in conclusion the Rambam, Hilchot Nachalot, chapter 1. A husband inherits from his wife. This includes her any type unfract property, even if the husband is not entitled to receive the profit, the Sma said, as well as her guaranteed property. He takes precedence over any other relative. According to the Rambam, the husband's right to inherit from his wife is by rabbinic law, but the sages reinforced their ordinances by imposing upon the severity of Torah law, the Bet Yosef in Drisha said. The Ravid hold that the husband's right to inherit from his wife is by Torah law, and more on that is Shulchan Aruch Even Ezer 57. So the other way around, it's not, and more on that is the Rambam Hilchot Nachalot, chapter 1. And in Mitzvah tomorrow we're going to continue with this fascinating subject of Hilchot Yerusha and Hilchot Nachalot, the law of inheritance, and especially when it comes to the estate.